the holy dip, Naga sadhus, and lots of people. These words and visuals have come to define what the Kumbh Mela is all about. And this year was no different. Stretching over 50 days, starting 15 January 2019 till 4th March 2019, Prayagraj in Uttar Pradesh transformed itself to play host to the Ardh Kumbh Mela. According to the state government, the Mela was attended by 15 crore or 150 million pilgrims, a number that has led the media to tag the event the largest peaceful gathering of people in the world. It's no wonder then that the Uttar Pradesh government allocated upwards of 4,200 crore rupees towards organizing the event. The budget was over thrice the budget of the Mahakumbh in 2013, making the mega pilgrimage the costliest ever. The budget enabled the setup of a mini-city in the designated 3,200 hectares of land and ensured that Prayagraj itself received an infrastructure lift. The city's 9 railway stations, its arterial roads and prominent building facades were overhauled. All this effort had a singular focus: to enhance the facilities for the public and establish facilities at the ground level to keep the event safe and hygienic.
Challenges accordingly just are parallel and as grand as the Kumbh, because we have to cope up with the population of around 10 million people, pilgrims who come just on their own without an invitation, just to meet and have a holy dip. The biggest challenge was one, proper traffic management, two, about waste management, how much quickly we can keep the city clean and defecation free. These were the two most important things, and apart from that, yes, when pilgrims are coming, where will they stay and what all facilities they'll be getting and how much comfortable and at ease they can do this. They will do this yatra for sure to make it memorable for them. That was the real challenge.
The number of people present at the Kumbh Mela didn't go unnoticed by corporates and brands. Be it traditional mass media advertising through hoardings, interactive kiosks and merchandise, to quirky brand activations that aim to generate positive word of mouth by providing solutions to the pain points of the pilgrims, several brands, from the country's largest spenders to the hyper-local, were visible at the Kumbh Mela, all with an intention to get noticed.
The Kumbh sort of is our Super Bowl. It's enormously bigger in terms of the numbers than anything else in the country, and it often ends up being a conversation about the number of people that you can reach at the Kumbh, and naturally that is what attracts any brand or any marketing activity that is focused on the Kumbh.
Such type of events are organized all over India. Maybe scale may differ. Kumbh is basically where a population equal to Delhi is there for 45 days. So you get Delhi market in a small geography of 10 by 10. So that is the opportunity.
We've not been part of any great fairs or religious pilgrimages and religious fairs till date. The brand has been focused in the south till about late last year. And when we were going north, Kumbh is a great opportunity for a brand to be present. It's something that we realized at the Kumbh, seeing the situation. So it's a very topical solution that we found.
However, the opportunity itself, the millions of pilgrims, could not be targeted like conventional city crowds.
70% of these people are from the Hindi-speaking belt, the 9 Hindi-speaking states and the media dark states. And close to about 85% of these people are the CDE consumer, the low-income consumer from media dark markets. We can clearly segment the 150 million people who come into Kumbh into 3 sections. Majority of them, which is 90% of them, are the pilgrims. So these are the guys who end up spending from 2 to 10 hours in the Kumbh area. Then you have the Kalpvasis, who at an average spend a week to 7 weeks in the tents, and they stay there. And then of course the third one is all the sadhus who are there throughout the Shahi Sanans.
Most pilgrims also have a laser-sharp focus of performing the holy dip, and hence not only did brands have to tailor their communication, but they also had to find ways to help the Mela authorities help the pilgrims achieve their trip's purpose.
For any activity to be successful, the message needs to meet the context. You know, one thing we realized from our previous experiences and from other similar activities we've done is that the mindset of the visitor or the pilgrim at any of these festivals is what we must tap into, especially for something like the Kumbh, where there's so many people and there is a focused end point that a lot of things in between become blind spots. And that is the challenge for a marketer, is to not become a blind spot in the devotee or the visitor's sort of focus on getting his end holy dip done or getting the visual of a idol done or whatever it may be.
It's good to find yourself, you're getting support from brands because you're doing so many things. So you get an extra effort coupled with your own efforts. So that's it. In that way, brands can do help a lot. And public, it just doesn't look like a sponsor, just a government program. It's good if the brands also come up. Brands do have a lot of role because people, they touch the people in some way or the other in their lives. And so if for the Kumbh, wherever it is, if they can make their Kumbh Yatra a bit more memorable, that would be wonderful.
Generally, brands are extremely interested in investing in properties like Kumbh, okay? But most of the time when we do that, we are not very effective in the kind of investment we are doing, okay? So what we did was to come here 4 to 5 months before and meet all the people who were responsible in running this whole event. What our purpose was to understand how brands can really contribute to this whole effort of Kumbh that the government was setting up.
This attempt at helping the pilgrims with daily challenges that they could face on their journey became the default objective for most of the brand activations at the Kumbh Mela. So while Hindustan Unilever's Lifebuoy helped with an activation that encouraged people to wash their hands before or after using public facilities, Dabur's toothpaste brand provided samples for pilgrims for daily use. Apart from helping touch up and paint various buildings in Prayagraj city, Nerolac provided customized containers containing alum chunks for devotees to carry the holy water from the Ganga home. Red FM collaborated with Prayagraj police and enrolled ex-pickpockets for an activation centered around staying vigilant. Hindustan Unilever also joined hands with the authorities for a cleanliness drive to clear the huge amounts of litter in the water. The Swachhata Ki Savari, or the Journey of Cleanliness activation, involved partnering local boatmen and attaching nets on either side of the 100-odd boats that ferried pilgrims.
देखिए, हमारी संस्था तो सबसे पहले ये काम कर रही है कि अपने नाविकों को समझाती है कि जहाँ पे नाव बांधो वहाँ के अपने कचड़े अगल बगल जो हो उसको आप हटा के साफ़ करो, उसको कचड़े के डिब्बे में फेंको। यात्रियों को भी बताओ इधर उधर कचड़े पॉलीथीन का प्रयोग ना करें, वो डस्टबिन का प्रयोग करें, वहाँ पे जाके कचड़े को फेंकें। ये संस्था काम कर रही है और संस्था के अंतर्गत जितने भी नाविक हैं वे भी काम कर रहे हैं, वर्क कर रहे हैं। और अभी जो है हम लोगों के नावों में एक रूल लगा दिया गया है कि जैसे कि हम पैसेंजर भी ढोए और उससे गंगा मैया में जो कचड़े जाएँ उसमें फंस रहे हैं और उसको भी सफाई भी होती रहे, दोनों काम हो रहे हैं बराबर कंटिन्यू।
Then there was an activation from laundry detergent brand Wheel that transformed an area in the mini city into a cleaning station and doubled up as a fun activity for the pilgrims as well. Similar services were provided by RSPL's detergent brand Ghadi. Meanwhile, Vim tried their best at an activation that targeted various local eateries around the Mela grounds. Brands also saw an opportunity to provide some comfort to the pilgrims. An activation by Bajaj two-wheelers had 50 retrofitted Bajaj Platina bikes ferrying pilgrims across the mini city, while Tata Salt provided a similar service by constructing special palkis. ICICI Lombard distributed acupressure gloves that encouraged pilgrims to get a little bit of exercise. And Muthoot Finance set up a custom cloakroom that allowed pilgrims to keep their possessions safe. Meanwhile, tyre manufacturer Seat deployed safety banners, or banners that doubled up as stretchers, to provide some fast aid for the injured and help crowd control. And then there were brands that aimed to create a social change. HUL's soap brand Hammam sponsored changing rooms and distributed waterproof saris to empower women pilgrims at the Kumbh Mela. These saris were coated with a chemical that made them waterproof and hence didn't let wet saris cling to the body.
Honestly, what we are able to do right now is because of the time required to manufacture these saris and the sheer scale of Kumbh, we know that we are not going to be able to do a lot more. Like we won't be able to touch even 20-30% of the crowd or a significant number, but what we can do is use this medium, use this entire thing to do a larger social call out, that the fact that the women feel uncomfortable is because they get stared at. That's the change we are trying to drive, that society needs to change its perception. It's essentially a part of the CSR, so we're not really hoping for any great brand numbers because we're not selling the product here, nothing like that.
So there are two parts to it. One is the brand love part to it, right? Which is creating affinity towards brands, right? Now, this is a place where you can create stories which will kind of build the equity of the brand in terms of brand love, right? So whatever meaningful interventions that brands do here, one, that is taken back by the people whom you kind of affect, back to their villages and smaller towns, and they kind of talk about it there. Can that be measured? No, it can't be measured, right? It also helps you create a lot of stories which can be put out on social media, put out in the media itself, okay, to create affinity towards brand. Now that can be definitely measured because then you know how many people are viewing your content, how many people are talking about it, what are the positive content talk which is happening about the brand. The other part of it is also that all these activities have an activation leg. You know, you are touching people, you are creating some amount of contact with them, and that can be easily measured in terms of how many people you are contacting, how many people you are touching, and how many people are seeing the activity, which is an approximation. You cannot have a scientific number to it. So these are the two measures that you can use to kind of see whether it's effective or not effective.
Colgate chose to use the Kumbh Mela as a sampling opportunity for its Ayurvedic toothpaste Colgate Swarna Ved Shakti. 3 crore mini tubes were distributed to pilgrims and small stations were set up near tents that provided water and a place for pilgrims to brush their teeth. In addition, the brand also distributed ropes to groups of pilgrims that enabled them to remain together in the crowd, and also provided wristbands to children so that their contact information was readily available in case the child got lost. These activations were aided by hoardings and pamphlets. All in all, it was a huge exercise.
Making the Kumbh happen is an enormous exercise, and a lot of moving parts need to come together perfectly because we are doing an activity for a limited period of time in addition to everything that we're doing at a national level across all our sub-brands at enormous scale. So our supply chain systems, our communication development, our logistics to make sure that everything is provided, massive number of samples, communication across highway pit stops, right down to the akharas, etc., the wet brushing stations. So huge number of touch points done for a very short period of time, but at very high scale, meant that a lot of people across functions were working together as a team very intensely, doing pilots, doing checks, making sure that there were no compromises on quality, on the effectiveness of what we were saying, and so a massive logistical exercise that went off fantastically smoothly for us, and we are feeling really, really good about how it all worked out. And not to speak of how the Kumbh itself was organized at such a large scale. Huge credit to the administrators for managing this seamlessly.
Food and beverage brands were present as well. Keeping close to its cleanliness drive, HUL's beverage brand Brook Bond Red Label decided to reward pilgrims who brought in loose trash with tea. Snack brand 2Yum constructed a large lamp as the centerpiece of its activation, which included distributing 4 lakh packs. Nestle chose to set up shops in the Kumbh Mela market. Commerçant catered to those who wanted variety in their food through its food court, while Amul had set up its own stalls.
So there was a e-tendering by the local Mela organizers. We participated and we got 32 stalls within Prayagraj. And then what problem is that when Kumbh is there, no traffic is allowed.
Right.
So we had to have our stock point inside the city, inside the Mela areas.
Right.
So we opened our chilled as a dry warehouse in the Mela area.
Right.
and transportation was done in the midnight.
Right.
Our refrigerated and frozen trucks were standing throughout the day to feed these 32 points as well as the local market. Because from outside you can't bring during those days.
Right.
Only in the midnight you can bring.
Right.
So that was the plan. Especially for the new product also we got very good trial like Meetha Dahi. And the product branding also is a very good opportunity. Because when consumers see every 10 meter, 20 meter Amul stalls or Amul brand, it creates good image.
Several brands got it right at the Kumbh Mela. These were the brands that identified and studied the demographics of the attendees and understood the opportunity the Mela provides. However, there were a few that didn't quite pass the muster. In the Mela market, brands including Nestle and the Himalaya Drug Company chose to keep most of their communication in English, a language that was lost on most of the pilgrims. High-ticket items or items that were priced above ₹50 found few takers. Simple signage and stickers proved to be waste. So while the brands were earnest in trying their best, the connect with the Kumbh attendees didn't click. And that's because for most of the attendees, the brands and their products were simply not affordable.
प्रसाद ले जा रहे हैं गंगा मैया का और माला वगैरह कुछ वस्त्र भी खरीदे थे वो सब ले जा रहे हैं।
इतनी दूर के सफ़र में कैसे ले जाएं सामान को, ये पहले ही इतना सामान हो गया।
विज्ञापन तो देखिए साधु संत के बहुत बड़े विज्ञापन है, भजन कीर्तन के विज्ञापन है, सामान का भी विज्ञापन है, सबका विज्ञापन देखिए, उतना तो विज्ञापन देख ही नहीं सकते हैं, चलना भी पड़ता है।
खाना पीना तो कैंपों में था, उसमें ही नहा खाया, बाहर तो कुछ था ही नहीं।
थोड़ा बहुत अपना चाय पानी का खर्चा है एक्स्ट्रा और इसको ऐसा कुछ नहीं।
The biggest lost opportunity is to get the best returns on your investment. And I'll again repeat, you would never get 12% of the Indian population at one place. You will never be able to reach each and every village in the Hindi-speaking belt. The lost opportunity is also the commerce part of it. If you look at any of these vendors who are selling food products, even a cup of tea, which varies from 10 rupees a cup to 30 rupees a cup, and throughout the day, they're selling about 500 cups. So 500 cups at 10 rupees is 5,000 rupees a day. 5,000 rupees into 60 days. So that's what a simple tea vendor earns. And if you have all the food items there in terms of biscuit, tea, chas, dahi, look at the amount of sales that you can get out of it. So to me, it's a huge lost opportunity for all the food brands.
For most of the brand managers and most of the companies, the scale of investment is a question, right? They all want to do something, okay? They all understand the importance of this and the relevance of this place, but how much they want to invest is a question mark which is there right now. Also, I think till now a lot of activity which has happened is on sampling and kind of getting people to try out product. I don't think so brands have really invested in creating ideas out of this place, right? So if you ask me, I think investment is a problem rather than convincing them to do something out here.
Meanwhile, the audience at the Kumbh Mela certainly seemed impressed by the scale of the organization and the facilities on offer, whether they were provided by brands or not.
कभी भी नहीं देखी जी ऐसी सुविधा जो इस साल सुविधा रही है, स्टैंडर्ड सुविधा, लेटरिन की, बाथरूम की, पानी की, रास्ता की, साफ सफाई की, सबसे स्टैंडर्ड व्यवस्था इस साल रही। हाँ, जीवन में पहला नंबर है जो इतनी सुविधा और इतनी स्वच्छता रही है कुंभ में।
सारा ही अच्छा लगा, घूमना फिरना, बैठना उठना सब व्यवस्था।
जहाँ इस भी कैंप में हम रह रहे थे वहाँ खाने की पीने की अच्छी सुविधा थी और प्यार प्रेम से सब लोग रह रहे थे।
यहाँ की सफाई बहुत अच्छी थी, कोई परेशानी नहीं हुई। घूमने में भी थोड़ा पैदल तो चले थे, बस वैसे कोई परेशानी नहीं हुई।
सरकार के द्वारा भी और खालसाओं में भी सबकी व्यवस्था थी, कोई रहना चाहे फ्री में रहे, खाने पीने की सब सुविधा थी।
बहुत अच्छा इंतजाम है, जो हम लोग सोचे नहीं थे, देखे नहीं थे, वैसे सबके इंतजाम देखे हैं और इससे भी अच्छा फ्यूचर में हो, वो बहुत खुशी की बात है।
Where there are people, brands will come. A popular adage that certainly rang true at the Kumbh Mela. But it was only a few brands that managed to hit the target. The Kumbh Mela opportunity is a unique one, and the big learning for brands is to identify the opportunity for what it truly is. To look beyond the massive numbers, study the demographics, and arrive at a strategy that can generate the most returns on the Kumbh investment.